Should NASCAR go back to the Chicagoland Speedway? Yes, NASCAR should definitely go back to the Chicagoland Speedway. I don't know how else to really say it. Chicagoland Speedway is is a track that has always put on good racing. That is a track that has always put on solid racing. And I don't think there was any complaints about that track, honestly. I mean, maybe with the Gen 6 era, right? Because matter of fact, even with the Gen 6 era, Chicagoland Speedway usually put on some solid races, put on some really, really solid races, and some great finishes as well. 2018 and 19 both had solid finishes, solid outings for the track. I feel like that if we can just get that track back in shape, because apparently Carson Hocevar went down there and had to, did some footage of how it looks out there and this, that, and the third. It's kind of like, it didn't look like it was in the best shape. I will say that. There was weeds growing up from the track surface. It was just, it didn't look like the Chicagoland has been in the best, the best condition. So all we got to do is get all that straight, and we are set for Chicagoland 8. We have to be. And I think that's in the works at the moment, because the Chicagoland Street Course, if I could be honest with you, I think it was a good experiment. I really think that it's a very good experiment. I really thought so. The Chicagoland area, Chicago area, right? That's a big market to have racing. That is a big market to have racing, and a very huge market to come to. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely feel like that we should definitely have some NASCAR around there. You know what I'm saying? We should absolutely have some NASCAR around there. So the street course was a great experiment. I hope to God that eventually, you know what I'm saying, we are able to go back to Chicagoland. You know what I'm saying? Because Chicagoland street course, I thought was fun. I thought it was fun. It's a damn shame it rained almost every single time they went there, which I think is preposterous. I think that's actually crazy that it rained almost every single time it went. That's crazy. That is so crazy. But we've had crazy ass races almost all 3 times. The third time, which was a few weeks ago, it didn't rain. But it rained as soon as SVG took the checker flag, though. So rain was coming, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, Chicagoland, I definitely feel like should go back to NASCAR. The Chicagoland Speedway, in my opinion, is one of my favorite mile-and-a-half tracks. One of my favorite. Next to Kansas, Charlotte, Chicagoland Speedway is very top-notch. Very much top-notch, and I think it aged gracefully. That's why I hope they don't repave it just yet. I hope that they can see how the surface is before they repave it, right? Do some testing, like North Wilkesboro did, you know what I'm saying? They was on that very old asphalt, in their first year back in the All-Star race. And, they tested it out, and, they did what they did, and then they repaved it the very next year for the very next season. So I definitely feel like that, yeah, let's see how it is, because I feel like the asphalt has aged gracefully. But if it's kind of one of those situations where the track asphalt is clearly in need of some repaving, then they have to do what they have to do. But I hope that, they repave it in a way where it ages quickly and not have to take over a decade to actually be good. We don't want that. We want something very strong, very, very, very entertaining for the fans. And yeah, and with the next gen car, like it, we should have a very great race, because the next gen, bro, let me tell you something. The next gen car really shines on these mile-and-a-half tracks. They shine like diamonds when it comes to these mile-and-a-half tracks. It's insane how good they race at these tracks. Like Kansas earlier this year wasn't really a banger. It was mid. But almost every other Kansas race with the next gen has been solid as hell. So hopefully we can see more of that. and I'm game for a good track, a great track to come back onto the schedule. You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously. So the street course, apparently they're going to San Diego. That's going to be interesting to see. I'm down for it. I'm down for it. A San Diego street course, absolutely. That should be really fun, and I mean really fun. But we gotta see. We gotta see how it is, because the next gen, they ain't really the best at turning right, bro. I'm gonna keep it a buck. They've been a bit boring. They really have been. But the street course race in Chicago was, I'm not gonna lie, I had fun. I had fun these last few seasons at the street course. So maybe San Diego can provide us another better show. But we gotta get Chicagoland back on the schedule. Whether it's next year or the year after, it has to be one of these years. We're not getting any younger NASCAR. Let's go ahead and take care of that. Let's handle that. Let's make sure we get Chicagoland back. Like, I'll sacrifice a Las Vegas date for Chicagoland date, most definitely. And yeah, Chicagoland should definitely come back. I love that track. I always love that track. And I know the Iceberg on YouTube, he's been hammering down at going back to Chicagoland, and I am down for that. So, without further ado, that's the end of the video. I hope y'all really agree with what I'm saying. I hope so. So, yeah.